Have a look at the BP Ultimate Grid Race 1 for the BNT V8s from Timaru. Angus Fogg off the pole alongside Paul Manuel. A Ford versus a Holden. We've got Kane Scott and Tim Edgell from row number 2.
And a couple of the key championship contenders, Johnny McIntyre, Craig Baird falling back a little bit. Scott McLaughlin, once again, another sensation, and Jason Bargwana.
Then we go back to Andy Booth and Martin Short from grids 9 and 10, 11 and 12 start for John Penny, and a good effort from William Bamber.
Filtering through, we've got Andrew Anderson and Nick Ross. These boys know how to turn it on when they need to. Followed very closely by Eddie Bell and John Hepburn.
Yeah, Eddie Bell disappointed with his run here at Timaru. We go back to David Hopper and Simon Richards completing the grid lineup after an engine change. Andy Knight in the Century Batteries Ford. Last year it was rain and carnage in the first race. We got beautiful weather over Timaru as we're about to erupt and go racing with race 1 for the BNT V8s. Craig Baird leads the championships by 10 points over Angus Fogg, and he is 6th on the grid.
What a display, look at it.
It's a slow start down to the line. Who's going to win down into turn number 1 on board with Scott Fogg?
Manuel advantage.
He's on the outside. He's back to the inside to the second corner. Manuel Fogg gets sideways off the exit curb.
Sorry, Jamie, huge concertina. Tim Edgell, Craig Baird, the car's behind. Big concertina there.
As Edgell gets turned around, was that Baird right in behind him?
Yeah, Baird was certainly tucked right in behind that car. So what will happen there?
Scott McLaughlin's gone off the exit of the third turn onto the back straight, and he is slowing. He's getting monstered by the rest of the field, trying to get it gathered back up in the Super Cheap Holden.
Oh, action of plenty in the middle there. Eddie Bell,
Andy Anderson going around in the ITM Holden. Well, it's been an eventful first couple of corners. Anderson trying to get it gathered back up. Manuel leads from Angus Fogg. Foggy was lucky. He's trailing a rear bumper balance. He was lucky not to turn himself around off that exit curb from 2.
Correct. Johnny McIntyre looking extremely racy. He has to make advantage. You guys have got 2 laps. That's the only opportunity they've got, because as soon as we get to lap 3 or 4, the tyres will be up. Everybody be in race mode. That's why these guys have to pounce so early.
So McIntyre's made a 1 position gain. We're on board there with McIntyre now with Kane Scott. Paul Manuel, the race leader, chased by Angus Fogg. Oh, little mistake there from Manuel. He had to stop that up.
Angus got to run down the inside. No, couldn't do it.
Manuel holds on to the lead. Now, what we don't know is how much consistent race pace the Manuel Oryx Commodore's got. I know they've done some long runs through testing and even the qualifying session, but Foggy's got the draft looking to the inside. It's pretty tight down there.
Oh, goodness, mate. Angus is nothing working him. He's got 2 wheels on the grass. He's just taken over the race lead. Paul Manuel's going to do the crossover here. Nothing's going to come. Well, actually, no.
He's having a look. Angus covers. Angus covers down into 5. So, second in the championship by 10 points. Angus Fogg back into the race lead. It's an impressive pole lap to stick the LG Falcon off the pole for race number 1 as McIntyre's down the inside of Scott. This is going to be busy.
Kane will actually live on the outside, so he'll retain that position.
Scott holds on to it. Here comes Craig Baird. All he needs is 1 opportunity, and you know he's going to have a go.
Johnny McIntyre has certainly got a lot of car speed at this stage of the race. We've always seen that, though.
Baird wasn't quite far enough alongside. So Kane Scott 3rd, McIntyre 4th, Baird 5th, Bargwana 6th. Angus Fogg leads Paul Manuel. Let's have a look at the replay off the start on board with McIntyre. That's Edgell getting into the back of Kane Scott. Fogg spat himself off the exit curb. Edgell making contact with the side of Scott, and Craig Baird just got into the back of the Chester's Ford. What's your take on that?
Just racing, Jamie. Unfortunately, the grid is so compact. Here we go see Scott McLaughlin way outside of the circuit. Here, look, just 4 or 5 guys all battling for position. Unfortunately, looks like it was just one of those racing incidents.
So Foggy with the race lead, just starting to get away a little bit on the Oryx Commodore. Paul Manuel, and saying that Paul's pretty strong through the infield.
Yeah, actually, I'm not going to agree with you that he's pulling away. It may look it, but Paul's actually in defensive mode here against Kane Scott, still in 3rd place. So, look, if he can get a bit of a race established, just pull away a little bit from Kane, I think he's got enough car speed to get back on the back of Angus.
On board with John McIntyre, down out of 8 onto the front straight here at Timaru. It's a little bit disappointed hearing that the appeal had been lost after that penalty from the opening race in Christchurch, after that clash with Andy Knight. There's Martin Short, just qualified outside the 10, but on board now with the Tony Richards Toyota Zone Ford.
Another young man doing a sterling job in his rookie season. He's just stayed out of trouble, and that team is super impressed with him. Fortunately now Paul Manuel has gone into defensive mode, so that's going to allow Angus to pull away. Angus last lap time is 7.0. Paul Manuel at 7.4.
Now here's a new onboard shot. This is underneath the right front wheel of Martin Short zone forward. See all the right front suspension.
Fortunately, with this new brake package, they have so much brake cooling and blanket plates, we can't see that red thermal temperature we normally would see, but there's the other side of the footage that we've just seen.
So Martin Short in behind John Penny. John Penny doing a good job. He is in the 8th position at the moment in the Penny Holmes Ford. Angus Fogg leads to the line. Manuel looking a little bit vulnerable back there in second. The gap 1.2 seconds. Fastest lap of the race, Kane Scott at a 106.565. And that's a new lap record. Lap record pace. Kane Scott, another lap record. He broke the lap record at Powerville Tools Raceway in Christchurch.
Certainly got that car dialed in there. Qualifying probably wasn't his best. Got run down the inside here.
Scott to the inside of Manuel.
He's got it. Quite surprised Johnny McIntyre actually didn't try to slot himself in there as well. Just not far. Oh, hang on, what's going on here? No, absolutely nothing.
McIntyre looking down the inside of Manuel, just trying to change lines and get the advantage. So that was the unknown question about the Oryx Commodore. How good would it be over a race distance? We know it had qualifying pace.
Johnny McIntyre's going to have a run down the inside. Hit the nail on the head. No one really knew. That team, they said they'd done an 18-lap stint earlier in the weekend, but that was on old tyres, so of course there's a lot more change since then. Track conditions, new tyres in these cars for this particular race. He's struggling, but he's doing a sterling job. Look, that was a scintillating qualifying lap that we saw from him. And here he is, third place. Johnny McIntyre, just a matter of time before the Fords come on strength. Look, run for the down the inside here. Paul's going to come across to defend it. Car's down to first gear. Second gear. Now, Johnny's got a run on him here.
Just looking at that onboard shot from Johnny Mack, the back of Manuel's car just looked a little bit nervous under acceleration getting onto the main straight.
Yeah, pretty hesitant. Now, watch the crossover. We've seen this in other categories. Right now, he's going to go hard to the left.
Yeah, Manuel's parked it right in the middle of four.
He has it. Manuel's car is just a little bit hesitant coming off the end of the back straight. And
Craig Beard looking to the inside of McIntyre.
Beard's car there is somewhere.
There it is. He's to the inside of the Blackwoods Pikel's Protector Safety Ford. Beard takes advantage.
Oh, Johnny done everything he can not to drive right through the back of that car.
That was close. There's Jason Barguana now going to work on John McIntyre. Barguana in the Inter-Islander juiced up Ford.
That car's been coming on strength all weekend. He's currently in 6th. What has he got for Johnny McIntyre? Nothing.
Andy Booth 7th in the Rock Holden. So Beard makes an important pass. Gains some more points in his battle with Angus Fogg for the championship, and he goes to work on Paul Manuel.
Actually, Boothie's not in 7th. He's battling for 4th place at the moment, although he's on the tail of all this. You've got some good speed coming out of that car and race pace.
Yeah, John Penny's right in behind Boothie with Martin Short. Andy Knight up to 10th, started out of position 19. If they qualified a lot better, they weren't going to do the engine change until the next round of the championship, but because they struggled a little bit in the top 10, they put their good motor back in. They took out in Taratonga with some engine damage. And at the moment, it seems to be paying benefits because he's worked his way inside the 10.
He missed all that mayhem that we saw in turns 1, 2 and 3, of course, and he would have taken advantage of that. Scott McLaughlin, who we saw just go totally into the wilderness there, he's back to 11th, so that's a good comeback.
Well, Paul Manuel really trying to fight hard here to hold off Craig Beard and John McIntyre. Jason Barguana was right up underneath the rear wing of Johnny Mack's Blackwood Pikel's Protector Safety Ford.
Now, further up front, Angus Fogg last lap time, a 63.8. Kane Scott a 63.7, so they're at status quo.
So Paul Manuel trying to hold off Craig Beard. Beard trying to get to the 3rd position. Angus Fogg is your race leader. Kane Scott, though, is closing the gap. Angus Fogg being chased down by Kane Scott. Kane Scott with serious pace right now, Mark.
It's that stage of the race, isn't it, where all the teams are showing their true hand. You see there on board with Kane fighting the back of the car, stepping out. He's got a lot of car speed in this particular part.
As the battle continues on and behind, Paul Manuel trying to hold off Beard. McIntyre, a little bit of contact there under brakes through 5.
Contact's all right, but if that number 1 car steps out and Johnny takes advantage, he's going to get a drive-through penalty, so you've got to be a little bit careful how aggressive you decide to be.
So we've got 2 battles to watch, and that battle for effectively 3rd, 4th, 5th back goes to probably Andy Knight as far back in 10th. fact, make it even better than that. He's gone by Martin Short and Scott McLaughlin. After dropping right back to the tail of the field, he's driven back up inside the top 11 as well. So Knight now ninth. Paul Manuel, there's the gap to the leaders going through. Kane Scott just 1 second behind as Beard looks down the inside of Manuel into turn 3. That's a big freight train of cars.
That's a good freight train of cars, though, so it's allowing plenty of opportunity for these other guys here.
Scott McLaughlin trying to get a run on Martin Short and get right out of the throttle.
And, of course, these two boys are going for Rookie of the Year honours, so there's a fair bit of going on for that particular battle.
So Angus Fogg effectively taking over the championship lead. He's first on track. Craig Baird back in the 4th spot. So that would be a 21-point swing for Foggy. Just got the feeling that, again, Paul Manuel just seems to be a little bit vulnerable, and he's having to be pretty defensive to try and hold off the charge of the Fords in behind. Scott McLaughlin's up into 10th. He's got by Martin Short on board. The Gold Coast-based Kiwi. Andy Knight just sliding around ahead of him. That's a fantastic drive for the Century Batteries Ford.
Stayed out of trouble, and just considering he started from the back of the field. Obviously, turn 2 and turn 3 and all the guys got together. He probably went around the outside, which certainly would have helped. But look at these guys here. He's got to run down the inside.
Baird to the inside to 3.
Back to Johnny McIntyre. Will probably pay dividends here because Craig Baird will be a little bit slow getting on throttle application. Johnny McIntyre here won't have anywhere to go, but you can't help but think, given the opportunity, he'll just slip past both of these guys.
Good exit run,
look
though,
at
from
Barks.
Paul
Barks
Manuel.
on the outside here. He become the spoiler in this very easily.
Yeah, McIntyre's trying to stay right up underneath the rear wing of Baird's machine to get the inside run through 2.5. He should get the job done on board with Johnny Mac.
Now, what's happened to Barks? Barks going to follow straight through.
He does.
Yes.
Manuel gets hung out to dry. Now, Kane Scott just did his second fastest lap of the race, chasing down Angus Fogg. The gap down to basically one carling for the battle for the lead.
Sorry, Jamie, Boothie on the inside of Manuel as well. God, it's amazing how quick the fortunes change. There's another car. I think there might have been Penny having a look at Manuel as well.
Boothie won't be too unhappy. They've got a pretty good race car.
They have.
John Penny trying to get to the inside.
Now,
the
Andy
outside.
Knight, he'll just slot right down the inside of Paul Manuel and get that position.
So 2 to go. Baird up into 3rd. Minimises the points lost to Angus Fogg by another position. Andy Knight from grid 19 is now into the 8th position and working on Paul Manuel for 7th. Scott McLaughlin up the inside of John Penny. Gets the job done. Up into the 9th position goes Scott McLaughlin. So there's Baird 3rd, McIntyre 4th. These two had a few words together at Terentonga, I think after race number 2.
Yeah, of course, we're a week later in another track, so those guys would have forgotten about that. And look at Paul Manuel, though. Unfortunately, he just got shuffled at the end of the back straight. He's kind of getting put out the back end of the freight train at the moment.
It just shows you how competitive it is at the moment in the championship when, you know, basically went from 3rd back to the 8th position because everyone's line is stern and on pretty similar pace.
You're right, you hit the nail on the head, Jamie, is that when you get put out to dry, you've got to try to re-establish. Oh, Kane Scott all over the back of Angus Fogg, but of course he is running out of laps.
Well, he's got 1 lap to do it. Last lap orders out. Kane Scott, where is the best opportunity, Mark?
Right now, he has got an absolute flyer onto the back straight. You saw Angus a little bit untidy mid-corner. Now, what will Kane do? Is he going to make the pass here or try to look for the switch over at the end of the back straight? He's going down his intentions.
Not close enough. Fogg's got good straight line.
Nah, look right out, okay, look for the crossover, Jamie. There
Andy Booth and Jason Bargwana. Booth making a pass here on Bargwana.
That's for 5th place.
How good is the Rock Holden towards the end of this race? Can Foggy hold on to take his 2nd win of the championship?
One more corner, and this is not it. He's going to set himself up here. Angus has gone wide. That's natural racing line, not a defence. Into the hairpin. Look for the run down the inside.
Bargwana coming back in Booth.
Battle's not over here, is it?
This is for 5th and 6th. Baird and McIntyre just up ahead. Bargwana's going to get the spot back. He'll be enjoying this, but Angus Fogg, can he hold off Kane Scott down to the line? He will indeed out of turn number 8, win number 2 for the championship for Angus Fogg. He should go back into the points lead. Kane Scott in 2nd. Waiting for 3rd to come down to the line. Craig Baird and John McIntyre disputing that position. Craig Baird gets it from John McIntyre with Jason Bargwana 5th, Andy Booth in 6th, Andy Knight 7th. All the way from grid position 19. They took the chance with the engine change. It has worked for the Century Batteries Ford. What an opener for Timaru, round 4 of the BNT V8s. Angus Fogg, win number 2 for the season, takes over the championship lead narrowly from Craig Baird. Kane Scott second, Craig Baird third, John McIntyre fourth, followed by Jason Barguana, Andy Booth, Andy Knight, Scott McLaughlin, Paul Manuel and John Penny.